We're halfway through the HLF, and today's the day we take to the water for a tour of the river Neckar and a boat party. So we'll talk to lots of the young researchers who are now well into the flow of the conference.
And in today's video, we'll focus all on mathematics. We talk to Abel Laureate Avi Wigderson about randomness, to mathematician Ragni Piene about her work and about women in mathematics, and to Anna Maria Hartkopf about communicating mathematics to the wider world. What's your name and where are you from?
I'm Michael. I'm originally from this area actually, and now I'm based in Bremen, doing my PhD at the University of Bremen.
And what do you enjoy most about the HLF?
I like a lot how we bring people together here and how it's made in situations that are just so jolly and informal in a way, where people wander around and make connections they didn't see coming.
I think this really transformed my thinking because initially I don't want to do a PhD, but when I see a lot of work, a lot of challenges to be solved in computer science and mathematics, this really gives me a lot of inspiration that I have a lot to do in application of AI in healthcare system, especially to African problems.
Bridging that gap between mathematics and computer science, because that is what I study in my undergraduate. So I'm able to see that relationship between mathematics and computer science.
We're here with Ragni Piene, a mathematician from the University of Oslo. And Ragni's also very involved in the international mathematics community and with the various organisations that award the most prestigious prizes in mathematics. But Ragni, first of all, we'd love to ask you about your work as a mathematician. Can you tell us a little bit about your research area and what you enjoy about it?
So I'm an algebraic geometer. So this is a very classical branch of mathematics. It goes way back to the Greeks or whenever, and it talks. The geometric objects that are studied are called varieties. It's a very active field still, and basically you study solutions of polynomials in some field. So it could be the complex numbers, the real numbers, finite fields, and it has all kinds of applications. But it's also a field on its own, which sort of continue with very fundamental problems in, for example, in what's called classification of algebraic varieties. And Shigefumi Mori, who is here, he got the Fields Medal in 1990, especially for his work on classifying algebraic varieties of dimension 3. So curves and surfaces were sort of done before, but once you go one dimension up, the situation becomes much harder. And 4 is still to be done, and so on. We'll see. So this is a work that can go on for the future.
And as I mentioned, you're involved in these mathematical organisations, such as the International Mathematics Union, which awards the Fields Medals, and you were the chair of the Abel Prize Committee. Can you tell us a little bit about these important prizes in mathematics and what they're aiming to recognise?
So the Fields Medal was first awarded in 1936, actually at the International Congress of Mathematicians in Oslo. But the Fields Medal has an age limit, so it is awarded to people below the age of 40. And this is a difference between, I should say, the Abel Prize and the Fields Medal. The Abel Prize has no age limit and has actually become more like a prize for lifetime achievement. It doesn't have to be that. And it is not, it's a prize in the mathematical sciences, broadly speaking, so it can be done, it's not a pure mathematic prize, to put it that way.
We last saw you at the International Congress of Mathematicians where the Fields Medals were awarded, and we were really happy because Marina Wierzowska won a Fields Medal, and she's only the second woman to have been awarded one. Are we finally starting to see we had a woman win the Abel Prize, we've now had 2 women win the Fields Medal, are we starting to see that change?
I really hope we are, and I think there is more, I have to say, I think there is more hope for the Fields Medal because it's given to younger people, and what we see now is that there is really I mean, it's nice to see how many young women are now entering the field of mathematics, and many of them are really, really good. So I think there is going to be a change. I mean, I say this hopefully every 5th year, but this time I think there is going to be a difference. And I think it's going to be difficult, I hope, not to have women fields medal winners in the coming congresses. And I hope also that actually the age of the Abel Prize winners will now start to be lower. I mean, if you go a little further down, there will be more women. And hopefully we will see during the next 4 years at least one woman Abel Prize winner, I hope.
So we're very happy to be here with Avi Wigderson, who won the Abel Prize in 2021 and the Nevanlinna Prize in 1994. And Avi, you just gave an amazing talk here at the HLF, which we really enjoyed. And one of the topics that came up in there is randomness. You were talking about the usefulness of randomness. Can you explain why it's useful?
I think that people use randomness from antiquity. I mean, for various simple problems of just making decisions. When you have an arbitrary decision to make, you toss a coin or roll a die, or when you want to count roughly things, you sample. So I think it's the convenience and the usefulness of random events was always known. I would say that since we have computers and computer algorithms, people started using it to develop probabilistic algorithms which use randomness for lots of problems we could not solve otherwise. We seem to be able to do great things with the probabilistic algorithms, and some of them we cannot match without randomness.
One of the things you've worked on is to look into when it might be possible to replace an algorithm that involves randomness, a probabilistic algorithm. So why is that an interesting question, to see whether they can be exchanged, whether there's a substitute for a random algorithm?
I think it's an extremely natural question to look at, both from a theoretical standpoint and for a practical standpoint. From a theoretical standpoint, this randomness used in algorithms, it's a resource. You use a resource, like you use time, you use memory, you use communication. It's a resource, and we are all about minimizing resources. We look for the most efficient way of doing things. So doing things with less resources, with fewer random bits, maybe with none, is as basic as saving time or space. From a practical standpoint, while probabilistic algorithms are analyzed assuming that you have really perfect randomness, I don't think we have it. We different computers, and not just computers, users of randomness, they just sample some natural event and believe it's random. Or maybe they take the digits of pi and think of them as random, even though they are totally deterministic. So the question is, can these probabilistic algorithms work in this situation where what you are feeding them is actually not perfect randomness, maybe totally deterministic. So you want to know whether they would work under these harsher conditions. So I find it extremely natural question.
Mm-hmm. And now turning to the HLF, one of the things you're doing here, apart from giving your talk, is I think you're going to be taking part in the school visits.
Yeah.
What are you hoping to experience there?
In general, one of my pleasures is talking to young people, to students in all. I'll go to high school, but even elementary school kids. I love to talk to young audiences. They are usually much more original in their questions and unexpected. I'm always, even forgetting, talking about my field or my work, talking to children is something I do all the time and love it. So it's another opportunity.
We're here with Anna Maria Hartkopf from MIP.labor, a research project into science journalism that's located at the Free University of Berlin, but is funded by the Klaus Tschira Foundation. Anna's part of a panel discussion about science communication here at the HLF this week. So Anna, your work is on communicating mathematics, and you have this exciting program of fellows developing projects to look at that. What sort of things are you focusing on with that?
So in our work, we focus on developing formats of science journalism. And this approach is focusing on the recipient of those formats. So we really look at the individual in a society and then see what do they need? Why would they be interested? How can we really get to them? And not focus so much on what we try to say from the side of science, but really look at the other side and see how can they, and not just, it should not be like the unidirectional flow, but also how can they interact? How can they engage? How can they actively participate in the dialogue?
You know, we work primarily on communicating maths at plus.maths.org. And is there something specific about our work communicating mathematics as opposed to communicating other types of science to the wider public?
Yes and no. So I think the point is that mathematics is as much part of the sciences as all the other sciences, so it should not have an extra role, and it somehow has right now. But also what we really see when in many formats, and especially media outlets about mathematics, that there is the underlying assumption is that people don't like math. And I am not even sure this is correct. I think this is a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you had each and every article with don't be afraid of mathematics, that is perpetuating the stereotype in a way. And I would be interested in, is that actually true? We need to do empirical studies on that. How does mathematics, the affection of society towards mathematics, how does it compare to, I don't know, comparative literature? I'm not even sure if that's worse. Then mathematics is it's such a crucial part of our daily life, and it's becoming more and more. And it's just really important that everybody is able to form an opinion. And for this, I think that's the role of quality journalism in a democracy. And I think this role is currently not fulfilled sufficiently.
It's Thursday and we're here at the traditional Bavarian evening at the HLF.
In this video, we spoke to Avi Wigderson, one of the legends of mathematics.
And in the next video, we'll be talking to Vint Cerf, who's known as one of the fathers of the internet.
And as well as that, we'll be talking to lots of the people who make the HLF happen.
Until then, cheers!
Cheers!